When he hits that one in the back, the guy flinches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that not a fish then?
It is not a fish.
Oh, man.
Hey, welcome to This Week in Nerd History, a podcast where we take a look at all the fun, stupid, nerdy stuff from the past, present, and future. I'm Mike, creative director at Dorkly and Lowbrow. Joining me, we got AJ, production manager at Lowbrow, and the haunting voice inside Bilbo's head. And, of course, we have Sal, who unfortunately was Bilbo last week, and also host over at Comic Pop. How are we doing today, guys?
We're good, man. Thanks for making me the focal point of the intro of that episode. I don't practice these faces in the mirror. I don't know what I look like. I saw the preview. I'm like, no.
No, I'm sorry.
No, it was great, but I was like, oh my god. This is what I look like? Oh my god. What have I done?
I still have that song stuck in my head after an entire week. And what's funny to me about it is that the song goes like the greatest adventure is what lies ahead or something, right? But in my head I started singing the greatest adventure is coming for us all.
Yeah.
Like it's
death?
Ominous.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about today. We got, what do we got? There's a game that I want to just talk about, which is super fun. Thank goodness you're here. We have some DC and Marvel comic news, some like a new series coming out for DC and Sabretooth for Marvel. And a big thing about Disney Afternoon, kind of like a history about it. It's the 34th anniversary of it, and it's kind of crazy how influential it was for TV animation through the years. Before all of that, we don't have an exclusive interview this week, but we do have a game that I want to play called Thai Food or Star Wars Character. This was a game invented by my brother Andy way back when, where I'm going to just name either...
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
a Thai food dish or a Star Wars character, and you have to guess which one is which. I was saying earlier, this is probably a game geared slightly more towards you, because Sal and I are a bit more versed on Star Wars characters, and it's harder to find.
But what
an
you don't
Star
know
Wars
is that
character
I'm an
now.
expert in Thai food.
Shit!
Oh.
I didn't think about the flip side of that coin.
I'm
Okay,
not
all
actually.
right.
But I'm gonna pretend I am.
But I put a list together, and just looking at it, like, I could be fooled by either of these. Yeah.
Play along if you're listening. Keep count, and then let us know who you beat, because it's probably all of us.
Yeah.
All right, ready? First one. Tian Menden.
No, this is harder than I thought.
Oh, wait,
That's a Star Wars
I may have
character.
mispronounced the first. I may have mispronounced part of it. Tian Midan. I love this already because I thought this was going to be easier than what it might be.
Tian Mida. Yeah, I'm gonna go Star Wars character. I'm gonna stick to my guns on that.
All right. I'll go Thai food. Why not?
It's a Star Wars character.
All right.
He's the guy who looks like he has like corduroy face. He's like part of whatever
that
console.
guy. Okay. Yeah.
All right, so that was. Wait, who guessed
one
what?
for AJ.
I got 1 point for that. I'm keeping tally.
All right, awesome. All right, second one. Kai Jiao.
Kai
That's Star Wars.
Jiao. Yeah, I'm gonna go Star Wars too.
Thai food.
Oh, no!
Kai.
This is the best fucking game.
My
in
God,
the
what?
world.
The Kai really threw me off.
Yeah.
Yes. So it is still one. AJ's got
0.
1-0. Lor Santeca.
That's Star
Lor
Wars.
Santeca.
It's got to be Star Wars. Lore?
Laura Santeca.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
go Star Wars also.
That is Star Wars. A point for
thank God.
each.
All right. Good. Back in the game.
All right. Next up is Diane Noga.
Oh, that I know that.
Thai food.
Yeah. That's a Star Wars character.
Oh.
It
I'm gonna
is
double
a Star
down and
Wars-
say it's Thai food.
It's a Star Wars character. I forget who
It's
it
the
is.
trash compactor monster.
Oh yes, that's
What's his name?
it's Diane Noga.
Is it-
Dianaga?
Dianaga?
Diana.
Okay.
Diagonal
Dianaga or
Alley?
Dianaga? Yeah.
Diana.
Not going to get that one right.
Not gonna win this
not
game.
gonna be working here anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Not going to work here anymore.
So So it's tied. We'll do one more for a tiebreaker. Because I feel like they get easier because I ran out of dishes and characters.
Yoda.
As a joke, I put Darth Vader at the bottom. All right, last one.
Pad Thai.
Yeah. I know. Todd Mon Pla. I can't believe how close these are. It's insane.
Say it again.
Todd Mon Pla.
Man. I'm going to go Thai food.
Same. But that's
It is Thai food. All right.
Thank God.
It is,
Okay, yes.
Then we're still tied, though.
yes, it's tied. Okay, I got one more that I'll do.
It's not a tiebreaker if we pick the same thing.
Oh, I
Is
can't
it a tiebreaker?
Ooh, shit.
Womp, womp, womp.
All right. And I'm running out here. Som Tam.
Man.
Star Wars.
Go Thai.
It is Thai food.
Yes!
Coming in 4-3. I can't believe how close that was.
That was too close.
Difficult.
More
that
Star
was.
Wars.
The other one I had on here was Panaka, which was like
Captain
Padme's,
Panaka.
like, Captain Panaka's. But I was like, I'll leave out the captain because it sounds like it could be something.
No, Panaka is like, oh, I love Panaka. I get that like whenever I order for like a large group.
All right, so this is Today in Nerd History. We're going to talk about stuff that's going on now. And Sal, we got some cool new comic stuff coming out.
On October 2nd, the DC Comics is dropping this massive book. It's called DC All In Special Number 1 Electric Boogaloo. No, it's just I think it's just called All In Number 1, but they're calling it DC's All In Special Number 1. But anyway, DC's launching this new kind of bold initiative, and it's really exciting because it's like they finally got it right. Like DC is always accused of like rebooting and stuff like that. Like they always have a crisis and then they have to reboot. And the most like kind of prominent, biggest financial success for them in recent years was the New 52, where they like just hard reset the entire universe, except that's also not true. And so they launched this whole new initiative and everybody and people were happy and miserable at the same time. This is like having your cake and eating it too in a great way, where it's like there's a big dark side level event, and they're putting out this big book, and so the idea is that like you're gonna get like two stories that are the same story, and so like when you get your physical copy of All In, you like flip it over to get the other side. So like Superman has one adventure where he's like, we need to make the Justice League bigger and stronger, and we're gonna give out these nice little fancy ID cards, and then they get wind that like Darkseid is messing stuff up somewhere else. Well, the somewhere else on the other side of the book. So you like flip the book over, and like Darkseid is doing his story, and so Superman has an adventure and Darkseid an adventure, and they're both like converging until you get to the end of the book on either side.
Can you start
It's like a
on
neat
either
idea.
side?
You can start on either side, doesn't matter, because
Okay.
like one is told from one perspective, the other one's told from the other, and like there's like big explosions on one side, and so like they're burning holes through the other sides. Like when you're reading the Superman side, like there'll be like holes being burned through it, so you can see the comic book on the other side of it. Like it's a neat little like gimmick that I think is fun, and just celebrating the versatility of comics as a format. And so anyway, that's gonna cause the birth of a whole new reality where the DC universe is like younger and newer and angrier and more hardcore. So that's where you're going to get like that massive Batman who lifts, whose logo is on his chest, and he takes it off and it becomes like an axe head. Like these are it's Wonder Woman was like born in hell, and so she like rides out on a flaming Pegasus. Like it's really, and Superman has like shiny gold gauntlets. I don't know. I don't know what the Superman story is yet, but but it's cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I like how it is gimmicky. It's a fun, creative gimmick for sure.
Yeah.
And then if it leads into like all that, and the way you're describing like Batman with the axe and stuff, that all feels very like late '90s, early like the extreme. Like if it was just like X-Treme kind of thing, where it's just everything's just like big and jacked. But that sounds fun.
He's like super swole. It's
More than words to show you feel that your love for me is real.
The most extreme
That's
song.
extreme.
Yeah, so that's coming out on October 2nd. Check that out. It's cool.
I'm also
and it's like
dropping my Extreme
yes, AJ Extreme.
cover
Yeah.
album.
When's that drop? That drops the same time
October
as the
2nd.
DC comic does.
Same
Yeah,
day.
comes out. You can get it at comic book stores.
And then you mentioned Sabretooth, new Sabretooth comic?
Oh yeah, and then there's a Sabretooth book coming out. I don't know much about it, but I do know that apparently they're going to be relaunching like a new Sabretooth book, which is in keeping with like the whole like new era for X-Men. Like X-Men had like a huge new initiative that like lasted a few years called Krakoa, and it ended, and X-Men got like a new editor, which is actually not that new. It's the guy who's been working there for like 50 years. And he's like, all right, that's enough of that weird stuff. Moving on. X-Men's relevant again. Let's do it. And so X-Men is like bold and in your face. and they came out with like 11 different titles, and so Sabretooth's getting one too, which like it makes a lot of sense like that Sabretooth gets a title. He had a book during that other period, but this one's the Sabretooth The Dead Don't Talk, which is actually like a secret like period piece Sabretooth story, which sounds fun.
I always liked Sabretooth character. My only I didn't grow up reading comics as much. I just knew sort of the basics of it, but my main exposure was like the 2000s like X-Men movie. So the Sabretooth in that movie, like how close, I know things change all the time, but like, you know, from like the comics version or like the version that like comics fans know Sabretooth from, like how close is that, or how far off or anything like that?
It's pretty far. I mean, like he looks kind of like him, but outside of it, I mean, and they hint at a rivalry / history between Wolverine and Sabretooth in the movie, but like it's not even close. The movie is, but you have to understand, folks, back in 2000, we were just excited to get an X-Men movie at all. So like the fact that Sabretooth was there was like, whoa, and the fact that Sabretooth like cared about Wolverine's dog tags was like, oh, and it's just like, don't worry, they'll never do anything with it except for a really, really bad prequel movie.
Right. The Origins one. Yeah.
Which may be the worst X-Men movie ever made. It's tough. It's tough. It's got steep competition. There's a lot of really bad X-Men movies.
Yeah, that one's pretty rough all around. Because it was on recently, and it took me 10 seconds to remember that Deadpool was in it. I was just like, oh yeah, I forgot about that whole part.
Yeah, all that
part was, yeah.
Yeah, and somehow that's what got Reynolds to like be part of the Deadpool franchise. Like he had heard in a comic book that Deadpool technically looked like Ryan Reynolds mixed with a Shar-Pei. And then he was like, really? Cool. And then he said yes to Wolverine.
He said, mix this with a Shar-Pei. Let's go.
Yeah. And then they didn't do it right. But he was like, now that I have like ownership over the character, I can like keep trying until eventually I can make $1 billion.
If anyone listening is an artist, please do a sketch of Ryan Reynolds as a Shar-Pei and send that to me.
I'm just going to send you pictures of Deadpool.
Yeah. All right, so I want to talk about a game. I had a name for this segment.
Games Mike wants to play, but probably won't because who has the time for such luxury?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Is that it?
And that game is Thank Goodness You're Here. It's been out for a while. There's like a ton of great reviews and stuff for it. If you don't know what it is, you're just this like tiny little traveling salesman, and your boss sends you to like in northern England, like some random town, and you're just supposed to like wait to talk to the mayor of the town, and he's in a meeting or something like that. So then you just have to kill time. So it's just you going out through the town.
Wait, that's like the whole game?
That's the whole game.
I watched I didn't get that you're a traveling salesman. I didn't read anything on it. I just watched the gameplay.
I didn't even watch it, but
I didn't know. No, I watched the gameplay, and I watched 10 minutes, and I was like, I will watch this all night. Like, there's an hour and a half of it, and I was like, I am fully invested. I want to keep watching this. But then, like, after another, like, 3 minutes, I'm like, I have to stop. Like, I'm too... But it feels like the kind of game I would love because you can't really... It doesn't look like things are obvious when you can interact with them, and so I would fuck with everything, and I really love doing that.
Oh, yeah.
And you just walk around and you're just... The tiny little dude, and the way you interact is you just like punch stuff, no matter what it is. You're just kind of hitting anything.
Punch.
And the whole
punch
look
a person,
of it,
and they're like, "Oh, hey,
super
dude."
Cute. It looks like it was made like in Flash in like the early 2000s, but like very well done. This isn't a knock on it by any means. I love the look of it and everything like that. And it's just filled with all these like stupid little jokes. I gave a link to a clip here if you guys want to watch it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do it.
I fucking love it. Reggie's wife could let it. I just realized. Oh my god.
When he hits that one in the back, the guy flinches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that not a fish then?
It is not a fish.
Oh, man.
That one is not a fish. And then he says Reggie's wife could learn a thing or two. When I was watching the gameplay before.
So many people say that.
Yeah, because he's like mowing the lawn, and then he meets up to
Reggie's
somebody and
wife.
goes, "That was a good grip you got on that lawnmower." Reggie's wife could learn
a thing for you.
Totally
Everybody
different.
in town knows about Reggie's
It's
wife.
so
Like,
fucking
who is
great.
Reggie? I'm
I
so
love it.
in the
Poor
weeds with
Reggie.
I
this.
love it. And
Reggie's
this,
going around telling everyone how his wife is awful in bed, and everyone's talking about it.
I don't consider this a spoiler, but like the game starts, you're just waiting in the waiting room to talk to the mayor, and if you just wait 15 minutes, then you can go talk to the mayor. And then that's the
And the game's like, you won!
All right, so this is yesterday in nerd history, I guess. It's the 34th anniversary of Disney Afternoon, which was like a 2-hour block of Disney animated TV shows that was launched in 1990. But there's this whole like crazy history behind it and how it was really influential to like TV animation for over a decade from there, which is pretty nuts. It all kind of started in 1984. Michael Eisner took over Disney, and he wanted to start developing TV animation. So he made a whole Disney TV animation like department. And the first show that he wanted to do was Gummy Bears, and that was based off of his kid's favorite candy, which like automatically just seems like irresponsible. Like you're spending all this money developing like a whole like new department, and they're just like, my kids like this food, and I want to make a show about the food.
And that's my entry point. Just this.
Honestly, like,
That's all I got.
considering how many animation projects I've done that I've tried to show my kids, and like they just are not interested, and I'm like so proud of them. If it means making something that your kid will actually watch, I get it. Like I
Yeah.
kind of get it.
Yeah,
I just love
and
the leap that it takes, where it's like gummy bears, right? Like the candy children eat. How about a medieval fantasy realm that takes itself very seriously? Like its lore is just rock solid.
Yep.
And they don't fit. Like everything else makes sense. The goblins, the people, like I don't know, whatever. I haven't watched this cartoon in 30 years, so I have no idea what else is in it. But like the gummy bears show up and they're like, and we're here too. And I'm like, yeah, but like, and you're dressed period accurate, but like, what's your story? I actually have an interesting thing about gummy bears really quick. Greg Weisman, the guy who created Gargoyles, also developed gummy bears. And if you like model the gummy bears after the gargoyles, like he's like, that was his kind of testing ground for Gargoyles. He was like, oh, here's all like the characters, and they have like different personalities, and they have colors that coordinate with their personalities. I'm going to do the exact same thing again later for the Disney Afternoon with Gargoyles. And it's like,
Wow.
and of course he also was like, and I also love medieval literature and history and lore, and so I'm going to carry that over too. And I'm like, all right, nerd. Thanks for making two delightful cartoons that I definitely enjoyed as a kid, but one I remember more vividly than the other.
Yeah, my God. I was actually going to talk about Gargoyles too, because that was like
It's part of it.
it was like a departure too. Like when you're saying it was like very serious and stuff, as opposed to everything else that was on Disney Afternoon. And then you know, I'll get to it because I was going to jump ahead a bit, but yeah. So like when Gummy Bears came out, it was on NBC's Saturday morning lineup. So this was like at a time when Disney was making stuff, but syndicating it, licensing it to like other networks to run. And it was a huge hit. And so Disney wanted to just start making more shows and start syndicating them elsewhere and stuff. So the next one was in '86 was DuckTales. And the huge change, like Gummy Bears animation was really nice. And like, I also don't want to gloss over that Gummy Bears, there's also a trend of the best intro music. All of it, like the intro songs, like Gummy Bears is awesome, DuckTales is awesome, all of it, like so great. So they definitely spent a lot of like time and care on there. But like, so DuckTales, was the next one, and that one was changed a lot of like what was going on in TV animation at the time. One was they spent $20 million on the season, which in today's dollars, $55 million for a season. The other absolutely insane thing was that it aired at least 4 times a week, like new episodes 4 days a week, which is
Oh my God.
just being involved in like animation production. It's absolutely insane, the amount of like coordination. And it's not 5-minute, 11-minute. It was 22-minute episodes, 4 days a week, like brand new ones, and like hand-drawn, beautiful animation, all that kind of stuff. The first season was 65 episodes at $20 million, 4 days a week. Like, insane. Like, because before that, too, like, not to gloss over it, like, kids animation, TV animation before that was, like, way before that was, like, Hanna-Barbera, where it's all reusing, like, limited animation, not spending a lot of money on it and stuff. And then, it's G.I. Joe, Transformers, where it's just toy-centric stuff. And, like, kids animation is always going to be a little bit toy-centric or very toy-centric. But, like, that led the shows, But then, like, DuckTales was reintroducing them to a younger audience and introducing new characters. And that was definitely, like, a theme that they followed pretty hard from there. So DuckTales was a huge hit. And then in '89, the next one was Rescue Rangers. So, and that one was based around like the Rescuers movie. And instead they swapped out a couple of the characters that were going to be in that with Chip and Dale. So again, like reintroducing existing characters. They spent $28 million on that season. So like they're pouring money into these shows. And that was like a huge change, right?
Yeah.
That was a huge hit. I also don't want to gloss over that Chip and Dale were dressed up like Indiana Jones and Magnum P.I. very much on purpose. And so then Rescue Rangers teamed up with DuckTales for a 1-hour block. And that eventually became what became Disney Afternoon. So 1990, they released it. So it was Tailspin, which was, again, reintroducing characters from the Jungle Book with some new characters, DuckTales, Rescue Rangers, and Gummy Bears. So that was a 2-hour block, at least 4 days a week of new episodes. It was so hugely influential across like all these other networks and places that wanted to get in on the game. So like Warner Brothers then teamed up with Spielberg and Amblin Entertainment to make Tiny Toon Adventures, reintroducing existing characters, adding new ones to it, spending a lot of money on it. They worked with them for a ton, so that led to like Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain, Freakazoid, and then WB teamed up with DC to make Batman the Animated Series. So it's changing all this stuff because these are all happening kind of one right after another, right during that time in like the early 90s, mid 90s or whatever. And then that led to like Marvel doing X-Men and Spider-Man, Nickelodeon having their own block with Rugrats, Doug, Ren and Stimpy. So it's just changing the landscape like right away. That's how like influential Disney Afternoon was.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy to like kind of look back on that because you're just like a fan just like
absorbing content. Like you're just a kid sitting in front of the TV, and you assume because I have this phenomenon in my head where like I assumed that everything was made for me as a kid because you're egocentric. I still think that now, but back then too.
Just living the Truman Show.
Exactly. But like as a kid, you're just like, well, this is like it's made for me, and then and it's never going to stop because, okay, well, maybe I'm a little bored with one of these Disney cartoons. Flip the channel. They're doing a carbon copy of Disney Afternoon on Warner Brothers, and it's completely irreverent and different and changing the paradigm a little bit. And you're just like, Tiny Toon Adventures was really... The Warner Brothers thing was always fun because Warner Brothers was very much... like Disney was like, here is everything we've made, and we're so proud of it, and we're so... like high on ourselves with these characters and these brands we created. And Warner Brothers is like, and we're a movie studio. So it's going to be really about that. Like if you guys remember the pilot for Tiny Toons, it's the guy animating the show at his table, like trying to come up with the idea for Tiny Toons. And so like Babs and Buster appear. Yeah. It starts meta where it's like the one thing they want for having created the world that they came from somehow is created by credit. Like in the theme song for Animaniacs, we find out what pay or play contracts are. Like, what the hell are you doing? Like the water tower. When I went to Burbank and I saw the water tower. I was like, oh, the Animaniacs are in there. Like, it's just a thing. It's not even full of water anymore.
Even as a 20-something-year-old, because I didn't get to go out there until I was in my 20s,
Same.
I still was like, oh, that's really Animaniacs.
Yeah.
Like,
or this is where
do you
want to
go do like a lot store? No, I want to go see the water tower.
Yeah, I want to look at the water tower.
I want to just imagine that Yakko, Wacko, and Dar are hanging out up there.
Exactly.
But
yeah, man, that
like,
that Disney afternoon, like it lit a fire, and and also like I think probably improperly set up standards and expectations. Like, oh yeah, just dump $55 million into this lineup, and the kids will show up.
Absolutely,
will show up
until I guess the kids WB, where they were like, or we could just farm Japanese cartoons until here to Judgment Day.
By looking at like the lineup for Disney Afternoon, I can figure out exactly when I watched it. Which like we didn't have Disney. I was one of. It's interesting to me that you say like everything that you saw, you're like it was made for me. I knew that things were not made for me because I was poor.
Right.
And we only got like the basic cable. And so when there was like, they would do like week-long promotions where like you get Disney for a week and you get to like watch those things. And so like I would watch it all day as much as I possibly could when we had it, because it was such a treat to be like, now I can see all the things that all the other kids are talking about. But like where I really watched Disney Afternoon, I feel like it saved my life in a way. When I was in kindergarten, I was in a car accident, and then I was in like the hospital for like a month, and they had the Disney Channel, and I could just watch it like all day, every day for a month. It was amazing. And so like the things for me, like this was past Gummy Bears, because I had never seen Gummy Bears. I'm like, what the hell is that? I had never heard of it until I was in high school, and I got like a CD with theme songs on it that my husband actually made when he was my friend. He was like the first person to download music from the internet, and he downloaded every single theme song that he could find. I probably still have the CD somewhere, and the Gummy Bears theme was on it, and I was like, what the fuck is it? Like, there's a Gummy Bears show? This sounds insane. What? But so I didn't see Gummy Bears, but DuckTales, Chip and Dale, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck, those were my, like, that was the block that I got to watch, and I loved it. And then like when they swapped out and they got Goof Troop, it was like, no, I'm sorry, I don't have it anymore. I don't know what that show is. I don't get to watch that.
That Goof Troop show was like the movie was the gateway, where they were like, all right, Goofy movie, then you'll come for Goof Troop, and they did that a couple times. They were like, here's a movie, here's the TV equivalent.
Yep. That was like their next thing was like, because when they almost want to say just ran out of existing IP, now that was also in the height of Disney, feature animation. So Aladdin, Timon and Pumbaa, Little Mermaid, 101 Dalmatians, Lilo and Stitch, Emperor's New Groove, like those all had their own shows off of the movies.
I feel like it's not fair for us to talk about the themes in this kind of like mini segment of the Disney Afternoon, because it just needs to be said, and it can be said as many times in the show as I'm allowed to be on it. But the theme songs of the era are like nothing that had come before or since, like
they're just straight bangers.
They're just unbelievable fire. Number one, Mike, like, needle drop hits every single minute.
The CD of theme songs that I had, it got played continuously on my CD player. Like I listen to that shit all the time because they're so fun.
Yeah, I mean, like the early '80s, they're getting their groove in there. Like the Transformers theme is a little janky. Yeah, I like it, but it's more nostalgia. Like G.I. Joe is more just like a rallying cry. I get it, but
sorry, my chair.
But once you get
just my chair.
More or less, once you get into like the Disney Afternoon, it's like like they got musicians to come in and just knock it out of the park. Although that being said, there were some non-Disney equivalent cartoons that had some unbelievable themes. I have to make my Alf reference. There was an Alf animated show. The theme, 50s diner, like doo-wop, sung by cats.
God.
Unbelievable.
Was Alf playing
It'll be in your
on it?
Yeah, of course. He's the only one who plays an instrument. That's like the theme of the show. Is that like he's the only one with like talent, and the rest of them kind of like just let the world wash over them. Like that's like the message of the song. To sell you an Alf cartoon. So, yeah. But anyway, if you hear that song, it'll be in your head forever. It was literally singing it all day yesterday. because I was watching our episode. Because I wanted to make sure that it was understood. I made a joke at the end of the last episode where I'm like, I don't watch the show. I watch the show.
I didn't know that Disney Afternoon was like who to thank for the things like the WB lineup, because that's
Right.
WB was what I watched all the time, and I just assumed like, I don't know, they're just doing whatever they can do. But like to know that that came from this run that Disney made is pretty cool.
Things started to just change a bit in '95 when Disney acquired ABC, and they started just running Saturday morning shows there as well. So like shows like Recess, which at this point, like I wasn't watching those shows anymore, but like normally it'd be a show that would premiere on Disney Afternoon. They're just going to put it on the Saturday morning one instead. And so like, and then Disney Afternoon became a bit more reruns. And then a couple years later, Disney made, I think its first name was Toon Disney. It became Disney XD. And that just became a place for like, they would just put all the reruns on that channel now. So there just wasn't really a need for the 2-hour block dedicated, syndicated, otherwhere, that kind of stuff. And then, they're not spending as much money on stuff at this point. And then the big thing was, and this isn't like a bad thing, but it just definitely changed directions for networks everywhere, was in, I think 1990, the FCC implemented the Children's Television Act. And it wasn't like strictly enforced when it first came out, but it was, the whole purpose of it was like, hey, make sure that you're like monitor the types of ads that you're going to be playing on the kids shows because kids are watching it, and make a certain amount of time for like educational stuff. All these like good things that are like kids should be consuming instead of me watching Ren and Stimpy and like, a horse talking about rubber nipples and stuff. So, and then in '96, like the FCC revisited it and it became a bit more strict, or they were just like monitoring it a bit more. So networks changed up their approach a bit, adding more, preschool programming, like educational programming, shows about like animal education, animal shows, that kind of stuff. And then Disney took that to start doing like the live action teen family stuff. So like Lizzie McGuire and all those kind of things. And like part of that was just trends are changing or whatever, but also too, Disney being Disney, it was also so that they could run different types of ads on there and make more money off of the shows than not have to be as restricted as animated shows. So
interesting.
So that was sort of the end of that whole era, but how much it like influenced, because if you just think about the shows that came from there that are still very much relevant today. I mean, like I know it's not on anymore, but like the Disney or the DuckTales reboot.
Like that DuckTales reboot shouldn't be any good, and it's amazing.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Right?
It's really fun. Also, they have just fantastic voice actors playing it. Like, and then a new character will come in, and I'll be like, "Wait, I know this person. Like, I know this voice." I'll get excited, and I'll sit on it for a couple episodes. I won't look it up because I'm like, I know this person, and I'll be like, "Oh, it's the chick from Garfunkel and Oates." Like, that's her.
I did a ton of reading and stuff about all this stuff, but there's a website, a YouTube channel, Modern Mouse, did a great video on like the history of Disney Afternoon. So if you want to learn more about it, like get into more details, depth and stuff like that, that guy did a great job on that. All right, it's question time. AJ's got a question lined up. Go, AJ!
Okay, because I did have a question about when Nintendo would release Switch 2, because people are saying that it could happen tomorrow or next month or whatever because of all the rumors that are going on. Because do you think it's time for Nintendo to move on from Switch and move on to Switch 2? Because I just don't know. I'm pretty sure Mario would answer this question since he is part of
Definitely
Nintendo.
fishing. Connor is fishing to get Mario to answer this question. So let's bring him out, guys. Mario, come on out. Sorry, he's not.
We don't have him today.
We don't have the budget to bring Mario in every week.
We also don't have the inside intel.
That was a lot of coin.
Yeah, it's a lot of coin.
Yeah, AJ
we also
was just
don't
at
work
Nintendo's
there, so.
offices. AJ, you want to talk about being at Nintendo's offices, getting the inside scoop on the Switch?
Excellent.
Yeah. No, I mean,
So
obviously we
zoom
don't
in.
know anything about the Switch or anything like that, but I get from what I understand, or everybody understands, like they've been kind of dangling that carrot out for a while about the Switch 2 coming out.
I literally
feel like
opening up my phone today. I was literally fed an article that's like ahead of the Switch 2 release. Like this is happening, and I don't know when it's happening. I honestly don't feel like Switch has enough play. I don't feel like they need to move on to a Switch 2 personally.
I agree.
I think it's great. I think it does tons of things. Like I just bought 2 new controllers so that we can have because I have 2 kids and one of them is getting to the age where he hopefully won't throw things soon. I was like, we need more controllers. I bought more. I don't want it to become obsolete. I want to keep going.
Yeah, right. It also feels
I'm in the same boat.
Like that's not a thing that Nintendo does where it's just like, we're going to make the NES 2. Like everything's like a new, it's not like the PS5 and the PS5 Pro.
It's not like you do a Wii and then you get a
under the
Wii
hood
U
kind of stuff. Yeah.
Right, it's not like that.
So they're always
not anymore.
Not anymore.
But there's instead of just like making like the upgrade for it, there's always just something a bit revolutionary or whatever to Nintendo's approach to like new stuff coming out. So whether it's just like in technical improvements or whatever.
Like maybe it's a larger screen, but I feel like that's not necessary because when you want it handheld, you want it to be, and then when you don't want it to be portable, you plug it into your TV. Like it's fantastic. It does great stuff. I don't see any room for improvement personally.
I agree.
But I don't know, maybe there's something that I hadn't, maybe they're like, and now it can call your grandma. I don't really care, but
I mean, how long has the Switch been out now? Like it's been around for a while, right?
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
So there could be like a thing where it is sort of the tech behind it is becoming obsolete, but they still love the build of it or the versatility or whatever, the portability of it and everything. So, I mean, maybe they're kind of, that it was such a success that they are kind of forced into doing like this.
Well, they did the Switch Lite as well. Like that was like a higher def screen and a little bit like thinner. And like they've done those before.
When did that come out?
I didn't know about that
I feel like the Switch Lite came out like 2 years ago, maybe less.
Less calories
off
and
my
stuff.
radar.
Yeah, less great taste, less filling. Switch Lite.
Keto friendly.
The king of Switches.
But yeah, Switch 2, I'm like, I mean, all right, as long as it's like cool and matters and has like something to like bring to the table instead of just being like Switch again or Wii U. Which was clunky and ugly.
Big thing? I remember Chase had Wii U. There was like a little mini screen in the controller, right? That was kind of the big deal.
No, the whole thing, it was like a Switch. It was like the whole thing. It had like the controllers on the side, and but it was built into the whole system. It was like hard set, and it had a camera, so you could like play Fatal Frame and stuff. Like it was a neat idea. It's just
there was a game, I forget what it. There was a game that when we first got the Wii U, we brought the entire system home. And each individual got, a little Wii controller, and one person had the screen, and it was like a ghost hide and seek game. So if you had the controller, you could see what everyone else was doing, but they didn't know where you were, and they had little flashlights, and they have to find you in the It was so fucking fun. It was so fun. Can we reboot that game for Switch? Because that would be really fun.
I was like, where's Pokemon Snap 2? And it took forever, but finally we got one for the Switch, and I'm like, there, all right. Because I want to be able to pick it up and take pictures.
I want to be physical with my games.
Yeah, especially if it's a camera, and I'm like, oh,
So I was getting worked up.
I'm worked up. I'm sorry. Pokemon Snap. No. Professor Oak, no. I don't know what happened.
I blacked out. Oh my God.
I don't know where I was.
Which year is it?
It's 1996 again.
If you guys have other questions, if you guys want to know inside scoops that we can make up for you, completely fabricate some inside scoops, we're happy to do it. Leave questions in the comments, and we'll do our best to bullshit our way through an answer for you. All right, that's our show for this week. Thanks so much for watching and for listening. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, definitely give us a like, leave a comment, leave a review. It means a lot to us, and it means a lot to the show. It helps promote it and everything like that. What else we got going on? Check out our podcast.
The one you're listeing to right now?
Check it out.
I meant Patreon. It starts with a P. God damn.
Check out our faces.
Yeah. Listen to if you guys want to listen to a podcast, listen to this one that you just listened to.
Just listen to it again.
Yeah. Check out our Patreon. We got early releases. There's ad-free versions of our videos. There's merch discounts. We'll post clips of stuff that we'll cut from this podcast. Probably this edit that I'm doing right now. This whole thing will get clipped out and put over there.
Just gonna
I'm doing a terrible job of it. I'm just gonna stop now. And Sal, what would you like to plug?
Hey, I'd like to plug this podcast. It's really good. You should definitely listen to it a couple times at least. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to our channel, of course, here, and check me out over at youtube.com/comicpop. Me and my friends make them with the yucks.
AJ, what do you got?
I immediately regret saying that. I'm gonna plug the word yucks.
Yeah.
Please.
Also, I'd like to plug this podcast. If you like it, this is how you find us on the internet. You type in www.google.com. You search for Dorkly videos. It'll bring up YouTube, a random video. You click on that video, then you click on the Dorkly underneath that to get you to the Dorkly page.
Yeah.
Then
and that
you
will
can
take you to a
find-
12-year-old's YouTube channel that is farming out all the Dorkly bits and is just earning off of them for no reason.
I wish there was a more direct way to find our stuff, but this is the path you have to take.
This is the way I use the internet. If you are listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, and you didn't already know, there is a video version with fun things like weird facial expressions and occasionally spacing out and profuse sweating. So check us out. Go to youtube.com/dorkly, and you can watch our faces say the words that you already know we're saying. We like you. We really hope you like us. Nintendo's not calling us up being like, do you want to drop the news about our release date?
To be honest, we're trying to stay off of Nintendo's radar for the decades of content that we've made based off of their IP.
You don't want to talk to them.
Yeah, I don't want them to know we exist.
Yeah.
Until I've retired.
Yeah. Hey, this is Mike from Dorkly. Don't look it up. Just quick question.
Don't look it up.